my responsibility as Permanent Secretary to welcome you this morning to the launch of our road maintenance management system and bridge maintenance management system. This system is transformational. This system is a game changer. This system is expected to transform our culture in this department. Inadequate investment in routine maintenance and periodic maintenance has led to significant deterioration of St. Lucia's road network over the years. In addition to the frequency of bad or terrible weather conditions due to the impacts of climate change, this has further exacerbated our conditions of our roads and created greater challenges for the department. To arrest this trend, it is imperative that the government of St. Lucia invest some significant capital into road maintenance over the next 4 years. At the Ministry of Infrastructure, our assessment has revealed that approximately $450 million is required over a 4-year period to help stem the deteriorating conditions of our roads. The Prime Minister and Minister for Finance has given the assurance that the government will provide the necessary resources, and I must say to you that this is the 2nd year running that we have received some significant increase in our road maintenance allocation. When we proposed to the Ministry of Finance, along with our key performance indicators, such as the International Roughness Index, I think we won the lottery because we received in the recurrent expenditure 79% of the requests that we made to the Minister for Finance. And that has continued for the 2nd year running. To help guide this substantial investment and to guarantee value for money, we have taken a policy decision to invest in this road maintenance management system. It excites me, it excites all of us, and I think more so the staff who are associated and work with the RMMS. I listen to them in the halls. I listen to them giving me anecdotes of what they traveled to virgin areas and to roads that they believe never existed in St. Lucia. The RMMS will provide scientific analysis and methods for preventative maintenance and planning of our road infrastructure and maintenance works. Instead of having this reactive approach to road maintenance, we intend to be on top of our game. We intend to determine with this project the conditions of the current conditions of the road, and these conditions will be entered in this database. In essence, this system will utilize internationally established performance indicators, such as the International Roughness Index, to assess how road conditions will deteriorate over time in order to determine the priority areas for expenditure on our roads. The Department of Infrastructure wishes to assure the public that we will adopt this approach and will adapt this new and renewed culture of preventative maintenance planning as opposed to this reactive maintenance that I have mentioned. In fact, for many years we've been under pressure to establish a reliable inventory of our infrastructural assets. Many a times the policy directorate has asked us for information. Many a time likely investors, funding agencies, and decision makers require comprehensive analysis of our road conditions for which we were not able to immediately provide, or we have to go out there, scramble, get the information, compile it in one area. No, that is not available in the ministry, but this time around, we will be able to, with a click of a button, even these days with facial recognition, we may be able to pull up the condition of a particular road and give the public, the investor, and anyone else who has asked for it, the GPS location of those roads. You will appreciate that this information is key, as it provides a platform for infrastructural policy development and long-term planning for various projects. In addition to accomplishing the above, I am pleased to report that this standardized approach is, to my mind, already working. We've actively out there collating the information see the traffic counters as I come in through Armandale and some other locations. They are there. And so these traffic counters, from my history, from my experience as a department, I would only see them on the road when we were working with a specific project. The last time I saw those traffic counters were when we were working with the North-South Link Road, where they were placed on the road, and immediately as the project was completed or the survey was completed, they were removed. This time around, the asset will be with us. It will become part of our needs. We will be there counting traffic and determining traffic volumes on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, in January 2018, the government of Saint Lucia, for a public competitive bidding process, engaged the consulting firm Survey Limited of Finland. And Dr. Consta is at the head table with us to undertake the consultancy for the development of the RMMS. The works have commenced, as I've told you, and many citizens may have already seen these vehicles moving around, some of them with road surveys written on them and good decal, and they're wrapped, like we've said, moving around. And I think what we're missing now, maybe when we move in the night, to have our beacons on to indicate that the work is on. So survey will be responsible for, among other duties, the establishment of a computer-based GIS road maintenance information subsystem. They will capture data, road data. They will be training our staff. Like I said, they will help us to transform and to develop a new culture of preventative maintenance and forward planning at this department. So at this point, I certainly wish to welcome you, and I need to thank Mr. Albert Jobatis, Chief Engineer. I think Mr. Jobatis, if I recall at our budget meeting, and even when I was across at the Ministry of Finance, has been determined. He's persevered. He's made proposals for this RMMS for some years now. Finally, I believe his wish has come true. So I wish to thank the technical staff, administrative staff, technical who are involved with the RMMS, technical staff, engineers and the like, who've provided the support, who embrace this new program, and we are committed to saying that it has worked out for us. And today we're all excited to be part of it. We're all excited to launch it. We're all excited to see it succeed. We would not in any way be able to find our way if we didn't have the leadership of Honorable Stephenson King, Minister. And I do not want to steal from his thunder. When he speaks about road maintenance, he's so passionate, and he has a way of describing the road and everything that is above the road. So we have a tendency of looking only at the pavement, whether it is chip and spray or whether it's asphalt or concrete or concrete. But Minister tells you need to look above you. What about the overhangs? And if you look to your right, what about the drains? This is all part of the maintenance regime. And definitely, Minister had that passion. We continue hearing, we cannot escape the passion. We only have to move forward, grab the energy that we are coming out of the Ministry of Energy. We have no choice but to embrace this new change. Minister, we really need to thank you for your leadership. And to the government of Saint Lucia for making the resources available to us at the Department of Infrastructure and believing in us. And to the people of Saint Lucia, we remain accountable, and hence we did publish our 2018 Project Digest as a means of communicating. It's part of our core values to the public, to let them know what we're doing, what we're about, and to demonstrate to them that we are ready to do the work. So to you today, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you. I thank you very much for being here with us, and do have a good day and a blessed weekend. Thank you very much.
I'm quite pleased today to be part of this initiative, which I believe will answer the concerns that I have, the concerns of the general public, and of course the concerns of the administration, the government of Saint Lucia. For me, ever since joining the ministry just under 2 years ago, I've spent much time listening, looking, observing, absorbing, and at the same time questioning myself about the function, the mission, the mandate, and the actions of the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ports, Energy, and Labor. In many instances, I question myself as to how many of us drive on our roads. Are we conscious of what we are driving on? Are we observant as to what we are driving on? And are we determined with the conviction necessary to change what we see, what we feel on our many roads throughout the country, whether it is primary, secondary, or tertiary roads? In some instances, I personally, as minister, get very frustrated when I see things that I believe should have been seen before I see it. And I get to the point of being tired of the public complaining about the condition of our road infrastructure, or tired of the condition of the road infrastructure getting to the point where the public must complain. More so, tired of, after having made a complaint, that it takes so long to get that problem addressed by the department. And as a consequence, I've constantly probably tormented the life of the permanent secretary and the chief engineer, and in some instances more directly to me, those from my zone, of the need to be attentive, to be observant, and to be responsive to the needs of the people of this country. Therefore, it has been my commitment to not only be minister responsible for infrastructure, to continue to do what every other minister has done and to go through the routine programs as presented, but to ask officers to look inwardly and in depth as what is required, and do not hesitate to say what is needed to be done. And so the launch of this exercise today, or this program today, is certainly a responsive move on the part of the department in addressing all of those concerns which I've got. And I'm hoping that once the program is launched, that there will be a new culture of being preemptive, proactive, and dealing with situations and predicting situations even before those situations arise. I often say to the permanent secretary and even the chief engineer when I'm told that we have a 7-day charter on potholes, and I say, potholes are not sinkholes. They do not happen overnight. They happen over a period of time of deterioration of the road surface and eventually a pothole. And only if we can have our preventative maintenance program in place, then we can avoid having potholes throughout the country. I also say that the road infrastructure is not just the tarmac. It is the tarmac, it is the shoulder, it's the drains, and it is in the environment. That foliage which often forms a canopy, which changes the atmosphere over the road and causes deterioration and affect our road surface. To achieve all of those things, I thought it was necessary to present a program that is responsive to those concerns, the concerns of the public, the general public, of staff and myself, and to get the necessary support, financial support from the government to address all of those issues. The fact, according to the PS, that in the last 2 years, last year and this year, we have received 79% of our requests, now means that the question is not whether we are working, but whether the quality of work we are producing is up to a standard. And so I want to say to staff that I'm one who is very passionate about what I'm doing. When any challenge that I accept, I am passionate. I drive the streets and I feel every bump, every hole, every pothole. And it upsets me when I drive around and I see street signs, directional signs, and traffic signs are obscured by lack of maintenance. You can't read what is there, or even hanging upside down. Yet still, no one has paid attention or taken any action to deal with those issues. We cannot continue to operate like it's business as usual. We have to take this matter seriously, because when I drive, I take it seriously, and I make a record of every single thing that I recognize on the streets. And I must tell you, on Wednesday, I had reason to go to Canaries, and I was able to capture a number of signs along the way, hanging upside down, fallen signs, signs that were all covered with mold that no one can read, directional signs that are inadequate or just destroyed. Nothing is being done about it. I say that today, as Minister responsible for infrastructure, I'm pleased that we have come here so as to launch this very important road maintenance management system and road asset management system, which signals government's commitment to the comprehensive and strategic development of our country's infrastructure in support of social and economic development. The road maintenance management system and road asset management system, and as you heard earlier on, the bridge maintenance management system, will play a major role in improving the island's aging road assets and save the taxpayers of this country resources. This system, that I'm sure the chief engineer and the consultant will provide a lot more detail, is a collection of software tools which will provide us, policymakers, with an inventory of the country's infrastructure assets and a comprehensive snapshot to guide investments in upgrades and routine maintenance. More importantly, it will also provide scientific analysis and methods for preventive maintenance and planning those maintenance works instead of reacting to damage retroactivity. And let me just say this again. Too often, we're responding to damage in a reactive way. It is after a bridge has collapsed, after a culvert has collapsed, we are reacting. We ought to be able to go out there and to inspect regularly to prevent those things from happening. I'm saying that we must, as a people and as a country, undertake the basic initiatives to deal with such situations and stop being calculative and predictive about what's going on. And while our engineers and technical staff would have done an excellent job over the years, that method of human calculations and predictions is not the most efficient and effective method that we should continue to adopt. Today, we are heralding a new vision and approach to road maintenance in Saint Lucia, a paradigm shift. We are modernizing the way we do business and take care of the infrastructure needs of Saint Lucia by our investment as a government in the RMMS and the BMMS. Having a road management system with proper data collection, trained personnel, and the right business process presents myriad of benefits. St. Lucians will see and feel a much better road network, saving money for both road users and road administration. Only yesterday, I met a young lady who indicated to me that she lost a tire, a bonnet, fender, having hit a pothole near the Bordelais prison facility. As I indicated to her, the law is on our side. And what it calls for is to drive with due care and attention. But even when the law is on our side, we must not fail in our responsibility to maintain a road infrastructure that can save lives and avoid the loss of property. Additionally, resulting benefits include credible, centralized, secure, and readily accessible data, improved maintenance decisions, 15% cost saving in maintenance, and 10% lower road user costs and general enhancements in road safety. It is also easier and more justifiable maintenance decisions and increased funding for road maintenance through accrued savings. So, as we take this important leap towards ensuring adequate and reliable service delivery on par with more advanced jurisdictions, the Department of Infrastructure has engaged a suitably qualified entity to assess us in upgrading our approach to road maintenance through the RMMS and BMMS consultancy. The objectives of this consultancy are as follows. 1, to provide a sustainable source of relevant and valid information for managing the road network through a system of strategic monitoring and a road maintenance database. 2, to enhance the programming and budgeting of periodic maintenance and rehabilitation of roads using an economic efficiency criteria. And 3, to reduce economic challenges posed by natural disasters and climate change by using risk assessment data to prioritize public spending on infrastructure. I am confident as Minister responsible that we have found a good partner in Survey Limited of Finland, who won the contract through competitive bidding. The consultants have already started work, and I'm told they are moving feverishly on the planned mission. Let me say to Dr. Conster and his team that we are eagerly anticipating the completion of their duties so that we can proceed with the next step to implement the recommendations and activate the RMMS. In fact, in saying this, it means that for us here in the ministry, once the consultants are through with the component of the consultancy, our staff will adopt this new culture in a new environment to introducing and implementing road maintenance services. To my diligent and competent team of engineers and technical staff here at the Department of Infrastructure, I say to you, soak in as much information from the consultants. Your country is counting on you to assume management of the system at the end of the consultancy and to deliver the benefits to our people. In closing, let me reaffirm the commitment of this administration to fixing Saint Lucia's infrastructure for the benefit of all. In the coming months, we will invest heavily in a major road rehabilitation program impacting every nook and cranny in this country. We will not neglect, nor shall we victimize. My team will work diligently every day to deliver improvements. However, we will not only build and in some instances rebuild infrastructure, but we will ensure that we construct better and more resilient infrastructure to respond to the demands of our growing population and the rigors of climate change. Rest assured, we will continue working for you and with your best interests at heart. I thank you.
But it's a good thing, as the PS mentioned earlier on, that the Minister of Finance over the last year injected a significant sum of money into this ministry to help stem the tide of this significant level of deterioration which had crept into the network. And I'm very thankful for this, because many people have said, well, there is work going on all over the country. While there is a lot of work going on all over the country, you must appreciate that it requires a lot of money, a lot of funding, and sometimes that funding is not readily available. So in the light of this increasing need to optimize the use of funds, the government of Saint Lucia seeks to implement a comprehensive road maintenance management system, or road asset management system, which we call RAMS. The project will run from 2018 to 2022 and covers about 700 kilometers of roads, about 100 bridges, major culverts under the jurisdiction of this ministry. We will not be covering the entire network, because the entire network comprises about 1,000 kilometers. But our focus is primarily the primary roads, the secondary roads, and what we call the tertiary roads. For this purpose, improvement in the planning, programming, and budgeting process for preservation of the existing road and bridge networks have been identified as an urgent need. And as the Minister and the PS alluded to earlier on, it is not just a matter of getting money and looking, well, where you can spend it in an ad hoc fashion. The intervention on the road network must be strategic, and it must be scientific. It must be based on sound reasoning. In the past, what we have been doing primarily is going out there on the network and tell the staff, listen, you go ahead and put together a works program. This is done in many instances, but without any sound scientific reasoning or logic. And we're trying to move away from this. We're trying to do whatever we do in a structured fashion to ensure that we get the optimum benefit from the money that's spent. So the task is to adapt technical standards to levels that are economically sustainable in the long run, and to identify and prioritize preservation works in a way that minimizes the social costs of transport within applicable budgetary constraints. You must always keep in mind that whatever we do it within a fiscal envelope. We have to stick to that fiscal envelope. What we need to do is see how best we can spend the available fiscal resources that we have to get the optimum benefits. So specifically, a road maintenance management system should analyze the pavement and traffic data, evaluate technical options, and develop annual and rolling programs of works and expenditures that optimize the net social benefits under whatever funding constraints may be applied. With the road maintenance management system, we'll not be able to fix all the roads in the country. No. But the idea behind the road maintenance management system is that you're given a fixed budget, and it will help you determine the best way to spend that money. That's the idea here. It's not that we'll be able to fix every single road in the country. So if, for example, when this program is completed, when the software tools are in place, the staff have been trained, the PM were to say, okay, I can only give you $10 million for operating and maintenance, what this system will help us do is to identify the best possible, the most effective, the most efficient way of spending that money. Right? That's what that system is going to do for you. If you only have $5 million, it will tell you this is the best way you can spend that money. Doing potholing there, rehabilitating that road, cleaning the drains there, and so on and so forth. So that system will only work for you in function of how much you put into it. That's why it's so crucial at this particular point in time that the data acquisition process is practically foolproof. That is, the data that is obtained from the field at this particular point in time must be properly screened. We must ensure that that data is clean, that data is reliable, because that is the data that will go into the system to help us determine how best to spend the available fiscal resources that we have. So there are also need for tools for planning long-term policies and expenditure plans for the preservation and expansion of the network, for programming bridge expenditures, evaluating and designing construction projects, managing maintenance operations, and for enhancing the safety performance of the network. Now, I want to clarify something at this particular point in time. At the ministry, we develop what is called an annual works program. And that program is to be developed in function of the available monies we get from the Ministry of Finance. And based on that annual works program, we develop what are called quarterly works programs. So it's expected that the road maintenance management system will help us to scientifically roll out the annual works program and the quarterly works program, and also long-term major interventions with respect to the road network. The operation of the completed system, including data updating, shall be undertaken with the assistance of staff from a consultancy firm for an initial period of 5 years. The full system is expected to be built up step by step over a 1-year period. Now, for many years now, the ministry have been under pressure from within and without to, one, set up a reliable inventory of its infrastructural assets, which will provide the policy directorate, likely investors, funding agencies, and decision makers a comprehensive snapshot of the condition of the infrastructure, that is roads, drains, and bridges, at any point in time. This information is key as it provides a platform for infrastructural policy development and long-term finance planning for infrastructural projects. Now, this exercise has been attempted a number of times before. Ministry has invested resources into putting together an inventory of its infrastructural assets in the past, but for whatever reason, lack of commitment, lack of enthusiasm, these inventories have fallen by the wayside. I am hoping and I pray that with this new initiative that this will not happen, but that the inventory will be maintained and will be updated on a regular basis to ensure that the ministry has at any particular point in time, a realistic snapshot of the existing road conditions and drainage structures and bridges in Saint Lucia. With the completion of this system, the ordinary citizen should be able to go on the net, log on to the website, and be able to pull up the information with respect to any road in this country, any bridge in this country. They should be able to do that. So it is important to note that this is not just for the ministry, but it is for the citizens, it is for the people of this country. Everyone with access to the net, whether it be a student, whether it be an ordinary road user, whoever it is, will be able, an investor, a would-be investor, will be able to go to the internet and pull up, log on to the system, and pull up information on any road in this country. You can get information with respect to length, width, condition of the road, condition of the drainage structures, the condition of the bridges, etc. And that information can be used for various purposes. The other thing the ministry has been under pressure for is to provide tools based on sound scientific-based methods for preventative maintenance and planning those maintenance works instead of, as the minister said before, reacting to already occurred damages. Okay, we need to move away from this reactive paradigm into something which is more constructive and scientific. So, cognizant of the need to address these significant shortcomings and ensure adequate and reliable service delivery, on par with more advanced jurisdictions, the ministry, under the directive of the Honorable Prime Minister, moved to engage, provided the funds to engage a suitable, qualified, and experienced consultant, Survey Limited, to assist this ministry in addressing the needs for a road asset management system consultancy. What does this work entail? The following tasks shall be undertaken in setting up the road maintenance management system. Establishment of a computer-based GIS, not Government Information Service, but Geographical Information System, road management information subsystem, including a road database, data entry facilities, data access and reporting facilities, administrative procedures for updating, maintenance, and operation of the subsystem, and staff training. Establishment of road monitoring procedures, including selection of methods survey sampling rates, and survey frequencies, recommendations on equipment and contracting options, the initial surveys of each type, and the training of staff for subsequent surveys. Adaptation, installation, and initial application of a model for central preparation of rolling annual programs and budgets of roadworks comprising periodic maintenance, rehabilitation, and reconstruction and routine maintenance. An adaptation, installation, and initial application of a model for the central preparation of a long-term plan of all road expenditures, works, and system trends. In a nutshell, basically that is what is involved with respect to the road maintenance management system. The other thing that is of critical importance for us is to tie all of that with the risk associated with disasters. We all know that there are certain sections of this country that are susceptible to damage as a result of intense rainfall experience especially during the hurricane season. For example, our West Coast Road is susceptible to this. There are a number of our bridges that are at risk, and there are a number of our road structures that are at risk as a result of anticipated or possible disasters. So there is a very important need to tie all of this information from the road maintenance management system into the risk that those various important structures like bridges and slopes along, for example, the West Coast Road pose for us as road users and pose for us as a ministry. We need to be able to predict, establish, or develop a predictive model which can tell us that if we have a particular hurricane of a certain intensity, that these are likely to be the damages which will occur, for example, on the West Coast Road. So we can plan beforehand. So we know what's likely to happen. So there is that kind of intention to more or less link the two, create a certain level of synergy between the two, the RMMS and the risk predictive model. Team Survey Limited and the Team Ministry of Infrastructure, headed by engineers Renata Philogen-McKee and Yolanda Antoine, have done a tremendous job so far in getting the project off the ground. I wish to applaud the efforts of the other MIPEL or ministry team members, Keishan St. Clair, Kayla Henry, Rhonda Pierre, Dwayne Centrose, Donna Fletcher, Martin Elliott, and Mariah Nixon in taking the project forward. But we could not have gotten so far without our faithful drivers who have worked hard to ensure good progress on the road surveys. We have Marcus Lubin, I think, Robert St. Pierre, Christopher Popo, and Richard Anius. And not to mention our AA Tech, Ms. Donia Mafre, and QS Flera Hunt, Jean-Baptiste, who have worked tirelessly alongside me, with me, to get this project off the ground. To all, I say a big thank you.
It has been, this is a very important event, first of all, I must say, because we need to improve the condition of the roads in Saint Lucia. And I want to thank you for the vision and the management that you really want the decisions be based on actual facts so that we have a data-driven decision making as RAMS provides. So I listened to your words, and you know exactly what RAMS is about, road maintenance management system or road asset management system. You know exactly. You have the knowledge, you have the vision, and you have the willpower to support the ministry, support us to actually make this successful. And as we had a social evening in, well, it was 2 months ago, and there you mentioned, Honourable Minister, that the key is the change. That's the difficult part, but we need the change. And this project is the seed for this change.
this project is not an end itself. It's the beginning of the major change in the road sector. And we as Survey Limited, we have been working in 20 countries for 15 years. And there are certain components that make road asset management system successful. And one of the core components is the top management, that they have the willpower. And here I can see it. And I assure you that this will be a successful project. And if I may change some slides. Yes, please. So all these current problems, you know that the road condition is not in the best, and then we have potholes in accessible roads. I want to raise just a few issues. One is that we need to get to the root of many of the problems. The rain might be a blessing for us, but it's not a blessing for the roads, because the drainage is sometimes missing, or it is in bad condition. Rain water is one of the biggest enemy for the roads. And also we need to address the quality issues of material works, the selection of contractors, and so on. And these problems we are here to solve. And as it has been mentioned, that it's a road maintenance management system. It has many meanings. We are not talking about just a software tool. We are not just talking about some laptop tool that you click a button and then there will be a road maintenance plan and implementation of road maintenance. It's not about only technology, but it's the essential part of road asset management in the preventative way. So we have been collecting a lot of data, and we will be collecting a lot of data because this information is the key for decision making. And if there is no information, there is no proper planning, and then there is it's not possible to justify the need for financing. So we are we came here to change the situation with the help of you, the team that has been working along with the consultants. So we know all the project objectives and expected outcome. So I want to tell a little bit what has been done so far and what will be done in the future. So first of all, to get this project sustainable, it means that we are not needed anymore in this country. Although that I love to be here, but I will not be here forever. So therefore, it's the team we are training. This is the key to success, and this is what we have been doing so far. And without the team, there wouldn't be anything. I couldn't do these things alone that we have done so far. So I want to thank you, all the team members. You have done a great job, and you will continue doing it the rest of the year and the coming years until 2022 and until 2030, because development is never ending. It's not stopping. Data collection is not stopping this year, but it will continue with the help of us, and later on without help of us, because everyone will be trained in data collection. And so far we have been collecting data. First of all, traffic data is very important, and we have permanent traffic counters to be installed, but we have mobile traffic counters being installed in various locations. We have almost 200 points where we collect the traffic volume by machines, and then hundreds of points where this kind of manual traffic counting applies. And this is an important piece of information to know how much roads are used. It helps to prioritize the works in a scientific manner. Of course, the condition is also needed, but the traffic volumes by different vehicle categories, this is the essential piece of information. And therefore, if you see the tubes on the roads, please don't remove them, because this is vital information for us. So from traffic counting, we have learned, from example, in Union Grand Riviera Road, that there are 5,000 vehicles in average on daily basis, average speed being 50 kilometers per hour, and some speeding here and there. Then the biggest traffic is on Fridays, and the peak hour is between 7 and 8. Later on, we'll get these figures for the entire country for the network level maintenance planning. So the next big exercise that has started is collection of information on the bridges, bridge inspection, so to speak. And we have done over 70 bridges so far. The initial idea was that there are about 100 bridges in the country, but now the estimate is more or less 200 bridges. So we are finding new bridges, so we don't need to construct them. So there are already quite many of them in the country. So now the question is that what are we collecting? Of course, technical information, but most importantly, the condition of the bridges and the required maintenance works. And I can assure you that some of the bridges will collapse in a couple of years if nothing is done, because so far we have found 3 bridges in critical condition. So when it comes to the roads, the most important single variable in network level maintenance planning is International Roughness Index. And we have covered A, B, and C roads, but we are also covering D and E roads, those smaller roads which are in very poor condition. As we can see on the map, that the main road, it's in relatively good condition, but when it comes to private roads, and as well as some residential roads, as well as some C-class roads, they are in a terrible condition, even inaccessible. And this is something that we have to think together how we can address this situation as well. So besides International Roughness Index, we are soon starting collection, making an inventory of the photos, inventory of surface defects, as well as assets on the road network. So we are collecting the number of potholes, cracking, edge break, loss of pavements, and very importantly, drainage condition, because then we'll base the maintenance plan on those information. And what has been very challenging is the GPS inventory, which means that we are going to every single road on this island, because in the database we didn't have all the roads, and some of the roads were not actually roads but some footpaths. So this time we are doing everything properly. We go to the field and collect the data from the field, and then in the end we will know how many roads there are in this island, what is the condition of the roads, how many roads belong to each category, as well as what is the condition in each road class. And this applies also to the bridges. We have to know first what do we own, because we cannot base proper decisions on maintenance planning if we don't know what we have and what the condition of them is and what the usage is. So therefore, this exercise will still last at least for 2 months, and at the same time we are putting together the information systems. So it's not a single piece of software, but we have a selection of software that will be used in road asset management. So in the end, I would just say that this will be successful, and it doesn't happen so that it's just the consultant. We are assisting you. It is the ministry that will learn and will run the whole system and the processes required for road asset management. But I want you to remember that road to success is always under construction. So it requires work, and it doesn't happen overnight. As from experience in Finland, it took over 10 years to get road administration modernized. But with these words, I would also like to give the greatest thanks to the chief engineer and welcome him back from the vacation, so that everything works, and everything works fine, and everything works on time. Thank you.